Well, have and have not fans, I have to say that every 6 months is probably one of Benny's worst episodes due to the fact that he did so many stupid things within the span of 42 minutes. And I just wanted to raise the question to you all. I think it's pretty obvious here, but do you think that Benny will be able to pay that back the Malones for the money he borrowed? I mean, it looks like it's $45,000 plus 25% interest, and he's on the terms and conditions of every 6 months, hence the title of the episode. Every 6 months, you check in with us and give us $18,000. Pretty much, I think it's clear that if he's unable to pay the money, Benny is a dead man. Originally, I speculated that he would borrow the money, be unable to pay it back, and then Candace would cash in her favor with Mama Rose to give Benny a pass without being killed. However, it looks like Benny unintentionally used Candace's favor, which, to be fair, he had no idea what was going on. And he was also dumbfounded when Warlock was brought into the equation because it was mentioned that, oh, your sister brought war to Mama Rose, so okay, I'll give you this loan. And I'm going to be honest here. I thought that Benny, after learning about Warlock, and Candace, he might have put two and two together, but it's unknown exactly if he figured out that he was dead. But I thought that Benny would have said, no, man, I'm cool, I don't want the money, and then he would have left. I thought that's where the story was going. However, he kind of half-heartedly took the money without fully. I don't feel like Benny was actually thinking about this seriously. Like, he seemed kind of nervous and, hey, my name's Benny. Oh, yeah, he already said that. Now, what do you want? So I'm just like, yeah, Benny walked into this. I feel like Benny wasn't as confident about his situation as much as he was in the first episode, where he was like, yo, man, can I get the money from your family? I felt like, even though that was a dumb decision, I felt like Benny seemed more sure of himself then than he was when he actually met up with Mitch's uncle. This, you could just see with his body language when he walked into the restaurant, when he sat down. Yeah, his uncle was kind of like, because he's black, he might not pay it back, but it's not really that stood out to me. It's the fact that Benny didn't seem to. Let me just put it this way. If I was Mitch's uncle, I probably wouldn't let him borrow the money because he doesn't seem capable or confident himself. I mean, you could just say like, well, you know what, I can do it, I got it. And when he heard 25%, he's like, 25%? He's like, it's a discount. Benny should have known. And here's my thing. I don't blame the Malones. I don't want to see Benny get killed, but if Benny gets in trouble with the Malones, I do not blame them whatsoever, because he pretty much was like on the internet. The agreement statement, the terms and conditions were right there in front of him. And even after he got the money, Mitch was like, hey, man, we can call this off right now, but if you go through that door, we can't do anything. And golly, I'm sorry, I'm just flustered thinking about it because it was such a frustrating scene for me. Yeah, it was cool to see a new character in Mitch's uncle, but I just don't know why. I feel like it was a bit forced for Benny to make that decision. And this was culminated when Veronica called him about the whole, you buried Quincy's body, so you're going to be in trouble. So before Benny can like fully think about it, what Mitch said about canceling the deal before he walked out the door, he's like, hey man, can I get your keys? I need to go over to Veronica's house. Just some drama. So he pretty much rushed out of there. So this episode was just a terrible Benny episode. It's like just one mistake after another. Finding out that there's information about him burying the body, even though George has yet to test the bracelet to get Benny's DNA. Then you have him borrowing this money, $18,000, 6 months. I don't think he's going to be able to pay it back. And then you had the situation where he goes over to Veronica's house, who said she would help, but at the same time, he gets caught in bed with her by Melissa and David. So I'm going to be honest here. I've said this I know I said this at least a dozen times in live streams and videos. I do not see how Benny, with Mitch's help, would be able to get $18,000 in 6 months due to the fact that it's just the two of them with their tow truck. I think Mitch still has his, so I'm not 100% sure, but let's just say he does. So between the two of them, how are they going to get $18,000? You're probably wondering, wait, but these two can do it. I don't think they can. Remember back in season 1 where Benny first got his tow truck? He, if I'm not mistaken, got maybe around half a dozen phone calls to get tows, because we do know he was in the middle of a tow before he got hit by Wyatt. But look at the fact that when those two were in the tow company, the phones were ringing off the hook. But then when Oscar interfered, all the phone calls went to the different tow companies in the town. So what I'm thinking is, when you look at the fact that he's going to be out here on his own again, I do not think he's going to be getting that much business due to the fact that there are so many other tow companies out there. When he had a company with the phone lines and everything, and that company was already established. Remember, the former owners got busted from doing, secondhand deals behind the scenes, using the towing company as a front for their, under the table operations, whatever they may be, drugs or whatever. So basically that company was already known to be an established place. That explains why the phone's ringing off the hook. But with Benny and Mitch, it's just those two again. So they will probably have to spend money on advertising, meaning that they're going to be in the hole Benny's going to be in the hole even more. And then remember back to like episode 1 or 2 where he confronted Candace about coming back to the house, finishing law school. He's like, hey, money's going to be tight for a little while, but we can make it. So pretty much Benny was banking on that tow truck being enough to support his family as well as paying back the Malones. I don't think it's going to happen. I just feel like Benny is being written into so many negative plot lines, sleeping with Melissa, getting involved with Veronica again after it looked like he was actually thinking with his head for once, the one on his shoulders, and not going to mess around with her anymore. And now he's taking money from the Malones. So I don't know what Tyler Perry's doing with Benny's character. I will say it is interesting to watch, but at the same time, it's not interesting where he's just making one dumb mistake after another. Yes, Veronica might bail him out, but at the same time, 6 months is a long period of time. I'm pretty sure, as Hannah predicted, you're going to mess with that woman, you're going to get burned. It might come to the point where Veronica says she's done with Benny, or Benny does something to piss her off. And it's funny how that works out, because remember, the only reason he took that money was because he told Mitch, well, man, me and my mom ain't staying in this house. You know how these people are. You make them mad, piss them off, they'll throw you out on the street. Same thing with Veronica, if something goes wrong with that, if let's say Melissa talks about how they slept together, or Benny says something or does something she doesn't like, she's going to get pissed and throw him out in the street. And then he's going to be so up the creek that I don't know what to do. And also look at the fact that even if he does get arrested for the Quincy Maxwell murder, or at least having ties to the murder itself by burying the body, the Malones could still get him in jail, because remember, Mama Rose said that they own the police. And just look at the fact that Jim had the Malones do the bloodbath to kill Terrell, the police officer, and Toxic in the prison. So basically that was done by inside men for Mama Rose. So even if Benny gets arrested and is thrown in jail, if he's unable to pay back that money, obviously he will get killed. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Benny Young will be able to pay back the Malones? Do you think he'll be able to get outside help? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And this kid's just making all the wrong choices.